A sharp knock broke the midnight quiet in my lab. A courier shoved a sealed wooden crate into my hands and disappeared into the rain-slicked night. The crate felt heavier than any standard shipment of remains, its weight unfamiliar in my grip. No paperwork accompanied it, only a stark label. Eldridge University, Dr. Kane, Fragile. Do not X-ray. Below that, in precise block letters, Agent Reyes, DHS Liaison. The lab's fluorescent lights hummed steadily as the sound of footsteps faded. I had not slept in days, not since the last case, a charred pile of remains from the desert that still haunted my dreams. It had been 2 years since Raylan's chemo tube snaked across her hospital sheets, since her final glare through the window before she flew west and cut me off completely. The coffee in my mug had turned sour, the only source of warmth in this sterile space of steel tables and shadowed X-ray screens. I pried off the lid and found palm-sized fragments, bone shards that glinted with an iridescent sheen under the lights, like oil-slicked opal, capturing colors impossible in ordinary calcium. A faint vibration thrummed through my gloves, a subsonic pulse that synced with my heartbeat. The manifest tucked inside referred only to a Nevada meteor event. Hours passed in a blur. The UV scan came first. The shards bloomed with fractal patterns, self-repeating geometries that seemed to etch themselves deeper the longer I stared, burrowing into my retinas. Density readings spiked far beyond normal limits, denser than lead, yet brittle as eggshell. I pieced them together on the reconstruction table, my fingers trembling from fatigue or something more. By dawn, a partial skull had emerged. It was humanoid, male, with cranial sutures suggesting mid-40s. Blunt trauma scars ringed the vault, cuts too precise, vibrating at frequencies no earthly blade could produce. The carbon dating malfunctioned. Isotopes decayed backward, placing the time of death in 2037, 20 years into the future. DNA analysis yielded no matches in the global database, but the 3D overlay stopped me cold as the model rotated on the screen. Hollow eyes, a jawline sharpened by age and shadow. It stared back like my own face, aged 2 decades beyond today. A vision of what I would become. Deeper assembly revealed worse horrors. Torso shards had fused impossibly, spine inverted, ribs woven like basketry from limbs that forensics had traced to 3 victims who vanished in 2034 car pileups. No glue or welds held them. The bones had grown together in a clear violation of nature. The hum grew louder in the silence, and the fragments revealed a truth too vast. Something from tomorrow had clawed its way back, marking us for reclamation, and it knew my face. I pushed the scanners to their limits, overriding safeties with code reserved for anomalies like this. The mass spectrometer hummed like a trapped hornet, dissecting the atomic structure atom by atom. Then the results showed temporal residue, ghost isotopes that should not exist, laced with helium from off-world atmospheres, perhaps Jupiter's moons. The software flagged extratemporal contamination, dating the shards to a 2042 nexus with backward ripples like stones skipped across time. My hands shook as I focused the electron microscope on the smoothest fragment, a sliver from the jawbone. Under magnification, micro-engravings appeared, not random scratches, but deliberate etchings, nanometer deep and spiraling in fractal loops. I connected it to the university's quantum decoder, the one we had jury-rigged for ancient scripts. It output fragments of text, cyclic harvest logs, entries dated in leaps, 2029, 2037, 2045, targeting genetic apex lines. Pure blood human stock, unmixed with the designer genes flooding the market. Hunters marking prime specimens for reclamation or dissection. The word sent a chill through me. I paced the lab, unable to ignore the partial skull on the table. Raylan's face flashed in my mind, her sharp cheekbones, that defiant chin tilt. We had been apex enough back then, before the cancer, the divorce, before she vanished into the southwest with our research grants and a promise never to look back. I couldn't sit on this. By noon, I chartered a helicopter to the Nevada site. Agent Reyes had ignored my calls, but the coordinates appeared in the manifest. Groom Lake perimeter, off-limits even to DHS-adjacent academics like me. The pilot dropped me a kilometer out, his rotors kicking up dust as he departed. I hiked in under a blistering sun, my Geiger counter chattering faintly. The crater was fresh, its edges glassy like fused sand. Charred earth stretched 50 yards wide, the blackened soil pulsing with faint bioluminescence, green veins throbbing in sync with my heartbeat. I knelt and hovered my gloved hand over it, feeling a low-frequency thrum that matched my pulse, just like the shards. Closer inspection let me pry loose a fist-sized chunk from the rim, not bone, but a crystalline matrix veined with iridescent material. It warmed in my palm, my skin tingling as if nanocurrents danced across my nerves. I pocketed it before reason could intervene, its weight pulling at my jacket like a secret too heavy to discard. I turned to find Reyes waiting, tall, with a sharp buzz cut and aviators hiding his eyes. "Dr. Kane, you should not be here." The manifest cited a Nevada meteor. This is no meteor. I nodded toward the pulsing earth. His jaw clenched. "Some debris stays buried, for reasons above your pay grade." He glanced at my pocket, as if he knew its contents. "Walk away, Nicholas, or do not walk at all." I refused. By dusk, I returned to the lab, ignoring the searing burn on my thigh from the shard. Reyes's warning replayed in my mind, but curiosity, or folly, prevailed. I activated the full-spectrum jammers. Faraday cages sealed the lab tighter than a tomb. No signals in or out. If DHS was listening, they would hear only static. The reconstruction accelerated. Over 3 sleepless nights, the skeleton took shape. 98% complete. Male. Projected mid-40s at death. Its morphology matched mine at 99.7%. Elongated phalanges. Anomalous cervical fusion from my 2022 climbing accident. The software projected the abduction vector. July 17th, 2042. The cuts traced skull fractures and incision paths that glowed red on the 3D render. Not random, They followed organ harvest efficiency algorithms, like a butcher diagramming prime cuts. Touching the assembled humerus triggered it, a neural flash so vivid that I dropped to my knees. Cold, sterile blue lights pinned me to a slab. Multi-jointed limbs uncoiled from shadows, probing. They cracked my ribs with surgical snaps, peeling back flesh as I screamed silently, my lungs filling with fog. Prions, the scanner later confirmed. Shard-embedded proteins hijacking my synapses, replaying memories that were not yet mine. The dreams began that night, disassembly interludes as vivid as surgery tapes. I woke drenched in sweat, phantom pain slicing through bones that throbbed like fresh fractures. Mirrors showed nothing at first, just hollow eyes and a week's stubble. Then, microabrasions appeared, tiny parallel scratches on my forearms, oozing clear fluid. The biopsy revealed a virus of unknown origin. On the fourth day, Raylan called. Her voice cracked from crying. "Nicholas, you sent samples?" "No." "What?" "Last week, migraines hit me hard. CT scans showed microfractures in my femurs, just like that forensic report you flagged. The doctor dismissed it as psychosomatic. Then this shard arrived on my doorstep. Overnight mail, no sender. It matches the Nevada evidence perfectly." My blood ran cold. I pulled her shard from the analyzer. It slotted perfectly into the reconstruction, fusing seamlessly to the pelvic assembly. Her future skeleton projected for 2041. The same pre-mapped cuts targeted ovarian tissue. Apex lines, the engravings indicated in my mind. "Stay away from it," I told her. "Burn it." She laughed bitterly, the sound jagged. "Like you would ever listen. We're yoked to this, Nicholas. Whatever it brings." The next morning, Archer, my symbology genius grad student and lab assistant, burst through the door uninvited, his eyes wild with revelation. "Prelims leaked online via proxy. The engravings have Sumerian roots fused with quantum steganography. They predict a lineage cull in the 2040s, eco-apocalypse of superstorms and gene plagues, harvesting apex survivors as seed for off-world colonies. Biblical judgment." We decoded together, his fingers dancing over the holographic projector. The symbols sharpened. Harvest cycles every 13 years, preying on unbroken human lines during the die-off. My bloodline, Raylan's too, remained rare and untainted by CRISPR mods. Mid-session, Archer froze. "Agency contact," he muttered, checking his burner phone. "They know we're digging." "Block it." But he was already ghosting, kit slung over his shoulder. "Decoders first. That's their play," he said at the door. By dusk, he had vanished, leaving the lab feeling empty. Paranoia crashed over me like a wave. Blackouts stole minutes without warning. Welts flared with acid heat, traced in harvest sigils. I would blink awake at the reconstruction table, my palms ragged and red from clawing at my skin's hidden seams, mirroring the wounds that awaited me. Every mirror became a trap. If I stared too long, overlays bled across my vision. My reflection buckled, flesh unzipped along ghost lines. a mangled doppelganger bearing inverted teeth in a grin. The pocket shard burned fiercer each day, grafting to my thigh muscle in scans, tendrils coiling inward, pulses locking in sync. Barricades grew thicker, jammers screamed at maximum output. Raylan sent coordinates from an Arizona excavation. Matching pulses. It's coming for us. Reyes's warning lingered, buried debris. One blackout pulled me outside at 3 a.m., crater shard clutched in my hand, soil caked under my nails. The ground thrummed louder, insistent, calling. The flashes intensified, chambers vast as cathedrals, limbs harvesting crowds, bones woven into obelisks pulsing with stolen life. My own screams rang out in future tense. Archer's laptop pinged after his disappearance, left behind, auto-decrypting. Call starts 2039, apex first to break the chain. You are patient 0 retrograde. Darkness swallowed the lab again. Alarms blared, breach confirmed, jammers fried. Multi-jointed shadows skittered through the vents. The skeleton thrashed, ribs unfurling, claws extending. Raylan's desperate call cut through the static. Nicholas, they're here. Cold lights. I seized the shard. It fused with my skin in a single searing breath, and future me's eyes snapped alive in the reconstruction model, lips framing the urgent command, run. But the door sealed shut, its hum rising to a scream, pulses synced worldwide through sat-feed hacks I had overlooked. Harvest logs updated. Cane line acquired. Neural flashes overwhelmed me, chambers filling, probes descending. My bones cracked in prelude, abrasions widening to gashes. Mirrors shattered, shards embedding like prions, replaying the call eternally. Outside, the Nevada soil pulsed brighter, unburying more. Reyes's warning proved true. Some things stay buried, or they dig for you. The blackout stretched on, welts bloomed into cuts. Future me spoke from the table. Welcome home. No, I fought it. I clawed desperate code into the console, jammers stuttering back to life. Yet Nevada crystal tendrils snaked from the walls. Raylan's scream looped through the static haze. Cull cycles ticked relentlessly louder, the 2042 nexus fracturing now. The lab shuddered violently. The skeleton forging me anew. Flesh reversing entropy, agony crested. From phantom to raw, femurs cracking in perfect sync with Raylan's. Archer's ghost code seared its final message. They are not coming from tomorrow. We sent them back to harvest ourselves. The pulse synced globally, charring Earth anew. My pocket, no, my flesh, burned radiant as limbs coiled inward. Cold lights bloomed overhead. No end, just the harvest eternal. Raylan's scream knifed through the static, pulling me back from blackout. I crushed the console, jammer screaming to life, and ran, the crater shard throbbing in my thigh like a feral heart. Buckling walls spat writhing tendrils from the vents, but my tires bit pavement, screeching toward her Arizona coordinates under a starless sky. Dawn broke. Her jeep stood claw-gouged, Her face looked gaunt and fierce. "Shards map harvest notes," she rasped, slamming data slates into my hands. "Bloodlines like ours, pure, unmodded, temporal anchors, perfecting the cull across cycles. Bait, not prey." Auroras ignited worldwide as we fled north, mutated wildlife lunging from twisted forests, deer with inverted spines, birds molting iridescent feathers like bone shards. The radio crackled with chaos, abductions surging early, skies splintering with phase lights. We barricaded ourselves in a remote Wyoming cabin, cobbling an anti-temporal shield from scavenged lab gear. Faraday coils woven with decoder arrays, pulsing counter-frequencies to jam the harvest signal. The shards overloaded that first night, emitters shrieking as we burned them out at the core. It backfired. The signal swelled, summoning the harvesters. The atmosphere glowed purple with ionization, the air heavy with ozone's acrid bite. They pierced reality's veil, biomechanical abominations, 15 feet of writhing shadow segments, bone-rending limbs unfurling like obsidian scythes. Escapes failed. Wildlife hordes blocked roads, auroras spawning wormholes that spat mangled, woven future echoes of ourselves. One beast latched onto Raylan mid-fight, its appendages slicing her femurs along the projected cuts, disassembly erupting in sprays of arterial gleam. She screamed, thrashing as flesh parted like wet paper. There was no time. Resonance data flooded my mind, the lab's matched skeleton, my future self's bones humming the harvester's exact frequency. Sacrifice blueprint, shatter it into the beast, exploit harmonic feedback. I dragged the partial reconstruction from the Jeep's trunk, future me's skull glaring as I smashed it into the core appendage. Shards exploded inward, fusing symbiotically. A resonance chain reaction rippled through. The entities destabilized, phasing erratically, bodies convulsing, appendages retracting into voids that swallowed Aurora's whole. They winked out one by one, reality stitching shut with thunderous cracks. Worldwide pulses flatlined, skies cleared to a bruised dawn. Raylan survived, scarred, femurs rebuilt with pins, skin etched in glowing glyphs that faded slowly. We burned the remnants in the cabin's pyre, acrid smoke veiling our coughs. But victory carried a bite. As the flames died, a final shard burrowed into my palm, embedding deep. It pulsed with new dates, 2030s, surges, cycles splintered early, 2032. From concrete depths we watch monitors flickering with global feeds. My interference fractured the harvest. Abductions now rampage unchecked, dooming millions of innocents instead of surgically culling pure lines. The shard's legacy, a viral fracture in time, spreading chaos we birthed. Raylan grips my scarred hands, her eyes hard. We broke the cycle, Nicholas. But purity's curse endures. In us. The shard kindles, revealing new nodes. Not dead, evolved. I remain patient zero. In its glow, our blood intones the harvest song afresh. Pure, unbroken, eternal. Join us inside the void, listener. Tell us of your grave misfortunes on r/ancient malicious. Give us your gold, your treasures, your time. Become like us. Become one with us.